Hello, viewers. You're welcome to another session of Broken Not Shattered. And I'm going to be your host today. OBG, that's my name. And on the show with me will be Shika. Shika, please, the stage is yours. Please introduce yourself to the guests as you would want them to get to know you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Miss Rashika, Shika for short. I am 31 years old. I have one child, and I recently became an amputee 2023.
Interesting. Shika, you're welcome. Shika, please, before we go ahead, viewers, thank you for stopping by um, every week to listen to us. And if you're joining us for the first time, this is Broken Not Shattered, where we tell our stories to inspire everyone. And we're going to encourage you to also visit us on our different social media platforms. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Spotify. Do way to subscribe, like, comment, and also share the link so that your loved ones can also be part of this conversation. Thank you so much, Shika, for joining us today. Shika, please tell us a little of your background.
I am from Grand Rapids, Michigan, but I reside in Atlanta, Georgia. I am currently enrolled in college. I'm going for entrepreneurship, marketing management, and small business. As I said before, I do have a son. He's 10. He's my light. I had him at a young age, so we basically growing up together. Um, Although I lost my arm, I think I have accepted the fact. Um, However, I feel like I'm grieving now. Like once I got out the hospital, I just kept going and didn't have time to self reflect and take care of self. So now I'm just changing my environment. I'm going to school. I ain't been to school since I was about 15, 16. Just working on me.
Thank you so much. And I believe this is so phenomenal. Now, talking about the situation, Chika, please, can you take us back to how it all began? Take us back to what happened on that day. How did it happen? What can you remember? Just take us back.
That day was, I want to say it was June 3rd, going into June 4th. However, my amputation happened June 4th. But we were all hanging out, and we went to a club. Um, and we probably did some drinking. I don't know if it was so much drinking that I thought we would have wrecked. But we had a good time. But the weird thing is, it was a lady who was in the club, and she was like, "Y'all be careful, y'all be careful." And it's so weird because to this day, we all still think about the fact that she said that to us. So we probably were 10 minutes down the road. And honestly, all I thought, I remember us just wearing off. We were off to my side, which is the side that my right arm either went through the window, is what they believe. But we reared off to the right, and I thought we only hit a tree. But I already knew my arm was gone because people be like, "What did you say when you woke up?" When I stepped outside of that car, I seen how severely damaged my arm was gone. And I believe I said it like twice, like, darn, my arm is gone, darn, my arm is gone. And I passed out. Um, it's got even so deep. I still think about the fact that um, I remember talking to the paramedics. I remember like yesterday, a whole conversation with them. I even helped them get myself on a stretcher, but I do not know if it was woman or man or the race. Like, and I remember the whole conversation and everything happening. I don't remember riding to the ambulance. By the time I woke up, I believe it was like 6 to 8 doctors, and I was getting rushed to the ER, and they were like, "We gotta amputate your arm." And so I believe I must have went back out, and when I woke up, my arm was amputated, and my family had showed up.
Wow, this is so emotional, I must confess. But then, If I may ask, how did that change your life?
You know, it's a lot of things because I'm a soldier, and still want to be a princess or a queen. But I cried 30 days in that hospital. I truly did because I was like, oh, is my life gonna be the same? Am I gonna be able to scroll life, handle this? And so once I came home, I realized that the world don't stop. If you, live in sorrow, not to say I ain't in pain because to this day I still feel my hand in my forearm. It aches. It has never not ached. In fact, I feel like it got worse. But I still feel all of that, but I still learned how to manage. I took on kickboxing. I use my feet, I use my teeth. And people be like, well, I'd rather have it all gone. This helps a lot because I can still grip things around. I still cook, I still clean, I sweep, use a broom. Um, I go to school. I write like a kindergarten because I was right hand dominant, but I'm writing. I can understand it. Um, yeah, I just realized life goes on. I'm still making sure I show up for my son. I still like to go to events. I'm still traveling. Um, Although it might have drained me a little mentally, physically, I think it made me stronger.
I think that brings me basically to where I was actually going for. And what were the mental impacts it gave you? And how are you dealing with it? Or how have you been able to deal with it?
Um, So I know I always got, since I lost my arm, I always got emotional on my birthday, which my birthday was August 2nd. I'm a Leo. But I now do therapy. Honestly, I had to start taking pills because I feel like it got a lot worse than ever. And I feel like the medication is actually helping. But I feel like it just hit me now. It's not because I lost my arm. I always tell people that I have accepted my fat, I have accepted what it is, and I'm very huge now that I'm getting older on you can't fix nothing that you can't change. So if I sorrowed and live all day wondering about my arm, then I would just, no. So that's why, I did start seeing therapy and a psychiatrist and just getting help because I feel like I never grieved and now I'm grieving. Some days are better than others, but time by time you do get better. You do go on.
So I wanted to ask you initially, on that day, were you the one driving?
No, I wasn't. I was a passenger, and that's why I was saying like the car reared off to the right. And to this day, no one knows to my arm. I don't know what happened to my arm. But they believe that it went through the right window, like the whole, went through the right window, and it was just bad. It was real, real bad. It was very horrendous.
So why I ask you that question is this. Sometimes when we go through such, there's always these regrets. Um, there is trauma to who, you know, had the injury. There's also a trauma to who drove, right? And do you sometimes have something against your cousin who drove that day? As if you had not, if you had refused to drive, I wouldn't have been into this. If you know you would be driving, you wouldn't have, you know, taken drink. Do you sometimes think it? Does that sometimes make you want to have something against your cousin?
And it's so ironic you asked that because honestly, for like, we all came from Grand Rapids, Michigan, but for like 10 years, I have always been the safe driver. Like, that was honest to God. And my cousin probably have rode with me millions of places, but I've always been a driver. That was probably like my fifth time in 10 years ever driving with her. And if I'm being honest, she was a safer driver than me. She is the type of girl that would take the streetway instead of the highway. So I'm not sure if speed played a factor, And that's why I never held a grudge, because it was a freak accident. I truly believe it was a freak accident. Things happen, but I feel like people all grow each other. It just has gotten a lot worse in the past few months or so. But I never held no hate or no, I never did. And I always tell her that, honestly, I truly didn't. And that's part of me forgiving and my growth. But sometimes people are better off not with each other.
Okay. Um, so we're gonna go on a very short break, and when we come back, you're gonna give us more, right? Just a very quick one. You're welcome back to Broken Dot Shattered, and we just want to thank you guys for stopping week in and week out just to hear us and be part of our discussion here. We would want to encourage you once again to follow us on all our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and also Spotify. So do well to subscribe, follow us, comment, and then share the links to your friends and family so we all could benefit from whatever we bring out from this platform. So, Chika, it's nice having you. And why I ask you the question I asked the last time was because some years back I was involved in an accident and I drove, and one person died in the course of that accident, and it left me with an injury for years. And I was thinking, was it my mistake? How do I compensate, the family for what happened? And it was a very big, issue for me for years until I was able to resolve that within me. And that was why I asked that question initially. And I hope you don't have anything against your cousin, and I hope he or she is still driving, right? To date. Now, Shika, let's move forward to move a bit away from that incident. And then let's look at what has life been after the surgery. What is it like for you now? What are those grounds that initially were unbelievable for you and now you can easily maneuver it? Talk to us about it.
So I thought everything was just gonna change, and I realized that it didn't. Even my son, he like, Mama, you could do everything with one arm, like, and people, like I said before, people know I'm a soldier slash princess Cinderella. You got to be a mix of two. So I decided to get my butt up. I didn't say, oh, this happened to me. I still to this day have never been a whiner, a complainer about my situation, and that's because I have accepted me for me. But like I said, I love cooking. It didn't stop me from cooking. I went to school. I'm writing like a 5-year old, maybe a 7, but that didn't stop me. It encouraged me to go finally at this age. Um, life goes on, and things that I thought wasn't possible. I mean, you can't have can't in your dictionary, and you can't. So life goes on.
So, like in every challenge, there is always a stigma that comes with it, right? So, as an amputee, have you ever sensed any stigmatization, or is there any stigmatization? And if there is, how have you been able to, manage it?
Um, so it'd be the little things that I noticed, like um, I can't have a drink in my hand and open the door. So, like I said, I'm using my feet now, my legs or my feet now. I can't. Sometimes I can. My son, I'm telling him, you got to get more stronger than him. But I use my legs and I put the can between my legs. Now that I'm just learning to adjust with life, I'm buying my vegetables cut up already for me. Like because like I said, I like to cook. So it's just a lot of things, a lot of ways that I have learned to adapt. And I didn't think I'd be able to do it all, but I do it all.
Tell us more. How do you navigate? Now you said you're beginning to adjust and you're starting life, I mean, so to say. So, how have you been able to, manage your son, work, and every other thing you do with your current situation? Tell us more about that.
That's a good question because some days I'm like, how do I do this? Other days, like today, I was just scrolling on the way to school. I'm like, you go, girl. Like, seriously, today I was just saying, like, girl, you go. I'm just getting better by the day. And my son, he has been on my side. He has never been anywhere else. Like to daycare, he didn't go. I used to take him to work. Like he has been on my side since he motivates me to do better and want better. Um, and of course I got a mother, a father. I got siblings who we're all close. Certain people and certain things. I like to travel because that's things that make me happy. I like to cook, like I said, that makes me happy. I even got better with my makeup. I used to not be as good as I am, and like I said, I was right dominant. I just still go places. I take my son places all the time, movies, just to get out the house. Those are things that have kept me going. And that's why I was telling everybody. They were like, "You gonna go to college?" I'm like, "I'm going in. I'm not staying in this house. I'm dedicated to going in. I need to mix and mingle, tell people my story." And it's so crazy because today we were writing like business ideas because I'm going for entrepreneurship, as I said. And one of mine was like a motivational speaker because so many people who have lost limbs reach out to me. And I promise you, I keep them going. So they need to keep going. Amputee to amputee, differences within, keep going.
So, I want to say I believe so much in what you just said. You know, I'm also of the belief that most times situations that come our way are just a message for us, right? And this is a message for you, and I love the way you're going about it. But then, as women, as specifically for you as a woman, there's something about women and their confidence. Now, when this happened, how were you able to get your confidence back for a woman like you?
Honestly, some days is better than others. And I say that because I like to camouflage my arm. Like I'm on here only because I'm on here and I want people to see. But honestly, I'm starting to wear longer hair. I always, where they say camouflage, I'm always wearing long sleeve because I call myself a fashionista. I even put that on my business thing today. So I still got to get dressed. I still got to get cute. Um, Most of the time I look in the mirror and I be like, girl, you got this little piece of arm. But when I had to find stuff to wear, I'm like, that's the part that's just draining me. But like I said, I found ways around it. And I follow so many women who has the same and they wear theirs out. But that's one confidence I don't have. Honestly, I'm just really being vulnerable showing it on here because I camouflage it all the time.
Now, if you could speak directly to someone, right, and about a journey of healing, what could you tell the person?
I would first tell him to listen to. I think it's "I Rise Up." I had just did a presentation and I said talked about it by Anna. I sung that 30 days in the hospital. Mountains, like it just that song is so real and it always give me the motivation to like keep going because things happen in life. Like I just said in my presentation, a bad day is not a bad life because you had a bad day today, that don't mean you'll have a bad day tomorrow. Because you had a good day today, next week you might not have a good day, but that don't mean your life is bad. And I always said I look on TikTok and I see people and children who's going through a lot more than me, and I'm like, how can I complain? Mind you, I said I don't complain. I think, like you said, the most thing I face is trying to find stuff to wear. So you gotta keep going though. You gotta look at yourself, and I like I said before, you cannot fix things that you cannot change. And that is my way of healing me. I'm not saying you gonna be happy. Like I said, my emotions has been up and down, but it's just because I'm grieving. I never got time to grieve. Life just kept going, and I just kept going. But now I'm just working on a better me. And you got this. You got this.
So if I would take you back a little bit, right? What was life for you before the incident, and then what is life at the moment? I believe most times when we go through situations, our perspective always changes. But in your case, what would you say was life before now, and what it is currently?
Um, I first feel like it brought on a lot of stress, a lot of pain. Like I said, I'm never not in pain. A lot of pills and they don't work. A lot of injections. Nothing has helped me. So that's one thing. And so I had to talk to ChatGPT because sometimes like it becomes a mental thing. Like that's what it's messing with. I promise you. As I'm talking to you, it's like electricity going through my fingers, going through my forearm, and I don't have them. So that is like one of the things. I never been in constant pain. And then I tell people it's like worse since I lost my arm. So that is a thing that bothered me. It also has been a very eye opener. Just with people, period, even guys, just very eye opening. And so before I probably was just going so fast, just you know, I don't know, just not focused, not going for the better, not trying to be better, and just falling into dumb things. And so I said, it's better out there. And if I want better, I got to do better. And, I think it has made me better.
So, Chikia, I want to come back to something I asked you sometime, which your answer wasn't so clear. And I want to be intentional about that. Now, on amputee, right? What are the stigma around it? Are there some responses you get within your community or within your friends, which you think it is because of your situation? And how do you manage with that?
Sorry about that. Thank you for the elaboration. So I want people have always loved me. Family, friends, dog, animal, kids. I have it's like if you don't like me, it's because within you. People has always loved me. I think it brought on new people and people that I never knew on these social media accounts. So many women, men have reached out to me. Like I even went to Cali and met one of them. I have been talking online and he lost his hand. But I have been talking to him online and I went and seen him. I met him. So, it just bringing us closer. I feel like I'm just in a whole different community. I didn't ever think I was going to have to look into amputee community, but now I'm on Reddit, I'm on ChatGPT, I'm just on Facebook, I'm on TikTok. I am in a whole new community. And that's why I say I want to be a motivational speaker so I can motivate other people to keep going. And I'm in a part of a new community.
So Shiki, let's say if you're to going by your condition, right? Get this. How would you define the good and the bad in life? Now, let me break this down, right? The good and the bad, I mean, is um with the unfortunate thing that happens to us, if there is any good thing that can come out of it. So having had the privilege of having your two hands, and also here where you have just one, right? How do you define life now? Is it creating a balance? Is there any beauty in your condition? And that's what I want to bring out. Is there any beauty in your condition? What will you talk to others about it?
So many people, like when I'm like my friends, when I'm like I learned how to crimp my hair, and I do my makeup, as I said before. They be like, "Girl, you did all that with one arm." I'm like, "Yes, like I don't have, my son has helped me, but I don't have I gotta figure it out, although of course any day I would rather have two arms. Like I would have took it over everything, honestly, And people always ask, do I regret it? But it has I have gained more than I have lost. And so I don't regret it. What's for me is for me. Um and that's how I find to balance it. But like I said, some days are better than other, and even physically that I have been having to adapt. I think mentally has been like where I'm really deep at. Yeah, so that would be like the bad side. Just the grief, because at the end of the day, like my psychiatrist told me, this is still a loss, and I have a right to grieve for forever if I like, because I gotta look at my fate every day in the mirror. And that takes a strong woman with some confidence, like confidence, to go out in the world. I literally go to the grocery store, there's kids out loud. I don't take it anyway. I always tell them either a shark bit me, or I tell them I got into a car accident. And the shark bite, that's what my empathy community told me to say. But it takes a lot of confidence. It's only 140,000 people in the world with an arm amputee. So I'm going in a concerts, or I'm going on countries, I'm just going places where there are 20, 30,000 people, and I'm probably the only one that's an amputee. So it caused people to stare. But it just takes a lot of confidence to be me. And I want people to know that you got to have some confidence to have a limb difference.
Thank you, Shika. This is mind blowing. And I must confess, you have that confidence that is so inspiring, and we like that. Um, so before we let you go, Chika, please, how can one get in touch with you? For our viewers who would want to get in touch with you outside of this conversation, how do we reach out to you?
I am on TikTok and Instagram at dark skin, and that's with two N's, and then Shika, which is Sheika, and I have a TikTok and Instagram. I have a very popular video on TikTok. It actually did like 2.2 million after I'm only getting 400 views. I don't know why it worked like that, but I did like 2.2 million. And then I also did like a walk with Big Sexy, and that did pretty good. Even on his Facebook, I think it was like 1 million, and on his on our Instagram it was like 400,000. But I had, like I said, it's strangers you didn't know who would support you. So like I said, you can get me at Dark Skin Shika, that skin with two N's, and then Sheika.
That's great. So, Shika, we have come to the end of our conversation. But before we go, we have a culture in BNS, and that culture is the last guest will always drop a question for the next guest, irrespective of who the guest will be. And there is no right and wrong answer to those questions. And before you leave the studio, you're also going to drop the question for the next guest. But meanwhile, I'm going to ask you the question from the last guest. And here is the question. The guest said, if you have all the money in the world, what would you do for survivors?
The first thing I would do is get a financial advisor immediately. But I like nice things. I always dream of a nice house, nice car. I would also donate because I'm always the go-to. So I would give away a lot of money, buy people a lot of things. I would also start like a nonprofit. I was just talking about that in school about amputees, so they can have different equipment that they need, because I had got denied twice for my prosthetics. So I would be able to just support people who need stuff like that.
Thank you so much, Shika. It's been a wonderful time with you. And I must confess that we really, really enjoyed your time in the studio. In fact, if not for our time, we'll really want to have you stay more longer in the studio with us. But I'm going to plead with you, please still stay accessible so that from time to time we can reach out to you so you could come talk with us or share the studio with us. It is nice having you in the studio, Shika, and we would love to see you again. Now, in our last and famous word, as we always end our shows, we'll say love, peace, and more grace. Shika, we'll see you next time. Bye.